Richardson gets the switch on Trey Jones. 4 on the clock. Tatum kicks it. White, floater, Robert Williams. And Popovich is upset. Romeo up top. Gets downhill, kicks it. Sohan, Romeo, step back, Rob is up. The defense too good. Brown on Richardson. Sohan for 3 and the lead. No, rebound, Williams, fouled.
Can we talk about the defense of Robert Williams?
Oh, he's been off the charts.
I mean, what do you want?
And we're going to talk plenty about Rob Williams coming up here on Celtics Postgame Live. Tom Giles, Eddie House with you as well. And the Celtics grinding out a 121-116 win over the San Antonio Spurs. Eddie, we talked about San Antonio, for whatever reason, it's a tough place for them to play. And maybe this one should not have been as close as it was down the stretch, but they're able to get the win and close the road trip at 2-2.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. I don't think they played their best brand of basketball in the second half, but they still was able to find a way to get a win, and that's what you look at. You look at when you're not playing great, can you still get stops on the defensive end? And they did. I think they built on what they do on the defensive end. Offensively, you could tweak some things, but I do like the fact that no matter what, when it got in crunch time, they were able to make stops. And Rob Williams was a big-time factor, but so was Malcolm Brogdon. I think with Marcus Smart going down, I think he played a phenomenal basketball game. Not only was he a guy that was putting the ball in the hole, but he was setting guys up as well. He had 7 assists. So I think guys stepped up when they needed them to step up.
Yeah, they clearly don't win this game without either one of those guys. Meanwhile, let's take it back through the end of that fourth quarter. The Celtics were up 112-101 with 6 minutes to play. So they had an 11-point lead, but you see Romeo Langford knocking down the jumper. That made it a 3-point game at 114-111. Then you got Jaylen Brown getting called for the offensive foul on the other end, and start to get a little nervous here because San Antonio would have a chance to tie the game. Instead, you're going to have Romeo Langford, who had 14 points against his former team, driving and getting 2. That made it a 1-point game. Celtics responding, and it's Derrick White. Check that. You got Jason Tatum finding Derrick White, and he gets the lob to Rob Williams. That was the play we came into the show with. Derrick White had 11 assists in this game. So the Celtics were back up by 3. Josh Richardson, though, another former Celtic, getting it done, knocking down the 3 to tie it at 116. And Jason Tatum, he wanted the ball with the game tied at 116, and he gets it on the baseline, takes Romeo Langford and hits the jumper. Celtics go back up by 2, and then you have this defensive sequence at the end of the game, Eddie, where everyone just locked down, including Robert Williams.
Yeah, you see guys sliding their feet, moving their bodies, everybody being engaged, being in the spot you need to be to. Right there, even Jaylen Brown guarding somebody. Jason Tatum got lost, but he still recovered for his brother and was right there. Now you see Jason Tatum scratching his head like, woo, man, I kind of lost him right there, but thank you for having my back. And that's what it's about. It's about, and Jaylen Brown said that. It's like, we got to have each other's back. We letting go of the rope. And we seen a little bit of that, let's, a great win, road trip. We in this road trip 500. But when you look at it, the things that Jaylen Brown said, times let go of the rope. At times we're not there. We're not helping our brother. We're not having his back. And those are things that you got to correct. And right there, see Jaylen Brown, the things that he was talking about, he's putting it into work. He's actually out there showing that I do have your back. I know that wasn't my guy. I was guarding my guy. But I still was there to contest the shot. And, that could be the difference of a made or missed shot is a contest. And we all know that. And so I look at just the energy that they played with. They had a couple lulls right there in the second half, especially at the beginning of the second half. But I also think that they figured a way out to turn it up and get it going. And to get out with a W, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, 121-116, again, the final score in San Antonio. We're actually going to send it back out to San Antonio right now. Abby Chin standing by with the former Spur, Derrick White.
Derrick, you were so excited in the locker room before this game. How does it feel to walk out of this building with a win?
I got a lot of special memories and times here, but it's a little different being on the visiting side, but always good to get a win here. So we had to find a way there at the end, and we got the win.
Yeah, you know that Spurs group, you know what it's like to be on that bench, and they weren't going to go away quietly. How were you guys able to close them out?
Yeah, I mean, they play hard. They're a pretty good coach, and we had a battle, and they just stayed after us for 48 minutes. So it's good to get a win and now go back home.
You said it. So many people here that you spent so much time with. What did that tribute video mean to you, and what was it like before the game even started?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for everybody in the Spurs organization. I mean, they taught me basically everything I know right now. So I'm thankful for from top to bottom, coaching staff, everybody. So it meant a lot, and it was cool to see.
Well, Derrick, we're thankful for you. Congratulations on the win.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Derrick White with 8 points, 11 assists. He also had 3 blocks. Is a very good defensive effort from Derrick White. And again, they needed him to play some extra minutes after Marcus Smart left this game about 4 minutes into the third quarter. Eddie, when you look at Derrick White and what he's able to provide, especially in those closing moments there, we've seen the alley-oop a couple of times, but no panic there from Derrick White with the shot clock winding down. Celtics just up by 1. How big was he in this game? And it's the 11 assists and 0 turnovers to go with that.
Well, he's a guy that's coached up. The one thing I've always talked about him, he comes from a coaching tree. Think about the coaching tree he comes from, Colorado, where you have Tad Boyle over there. I mean, a fantastic collegiate coach is going to have your players coached up and ready to get into the league. Then he goes to Pop, and we all know what Pop track record is, right? Pop is only going to have players that can play on his team that can be coached, that are a certain type of players. And he fits that mold. And to get him was such a luxury for us last year. Like you said, the 11 assists with no turnovers. But I just think the deflections on defense, getting blocked shots, he always seems to make the right play. Now, does he make shots every single? No, that's not what I'm talking about. But he does make the right play, and he has the right intentions. And when you have those things, you combine that, you have a very good basketball player, and that's what we see in Derrick White.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we talked about before the season started was with the addition of Malcolm Brogdon, you're sitting there thinking about, okay, look at what they have at point guard, where you got Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, Derrick White. How are they all going to have an impact? And it seems like every single game they do have an impact, but especially tonight when you needed Derrick White to step up. And Malcolm Brogdon had a fantastic game, but Marcus Smart going out, early in the third quarter, you needed Derrick White to step up, and you have that luxury.
Yeah, think about this. 18 assists between them two guys, right? 7 from Brogdon and 11 from Derrick White with Marcus Smart out. So you could add what Marcus Smart had, and you could probably add a few more of those, a few more assists in there if he would stayed in the game. But that's where it's at. To me, it's when this team is playing like they play. They had 30 assists tonight. When you are playing in that fashion, sharing the basketball and playing kind of fast, I think what I start realizing, I'm watching this team and I'm like, okay, as the season is going on, remember last year we were like, oh, defense is their identity. They have a defensive identity. You always want to have that as your foundation. But what do you do when you're building up and creating other identities when, you're going to always play defense, but what is going to separate you? And I think it's playing with pace. I think a team that plays faster. I think a team that shares the ball hops. The ball really doesn't stick. And when the ball does come to your guys, you get downhill. I think that's when they're at their best. And so what I'm looking at right now is a team finding their identity offensively, right? And the way that they have been finding it is just moving the basketball, playing fast, playing with pace. But it does all start with getting stops on the defensive end. All
right, we got Scalabrine Perk with us now. And before we talk about Rob Williams, guys, I want to talk big picture, and the Celtics able to grind out this win. They're up 11 with 6 minutes to go, and San Antonio claws back, but able to hang on for that 121-116 win. Scal, big picture.
Big picture, Rob Williams was spectacular this game. I think he won the game for him. His energy, contagious. He does things that most people can't do. We could talk about Brogdon and the big shots. You could talk about Tatum and Brown, like those guys. But to me, Rob Williams was a big dip. When you're here, he is standing out as his energy is something that the Spurs had no answer for.
I agree. And also, I'm going to give Coach Joe Mazzulla some props. His ATOs today was fantastic. But I thought Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I thought they was aggressive all night long, attacking downhill. I thought when they needed to pick up their one-on-one defense, they was allowed to pressure up because of the impact of Robert Williams. So overall, look, I understand the Spurs are horrible, but again, these are professionals. Those guys fought back, and guess what? The Celtics responded and got a win, and now they're going back to the Beantown.
Perk, I want to go right back to you, though, on Robert Williams and your thoughts, because it sounded like you loved what you saw in person today from Robert Williams. And if you go through the stat line, I almost don't have enough time to go through it. 10 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks. I mean, he affected the game on both ends from end to end in 21 minutes.
Absolutely. And he showed today, in my opinion, why he should be in the conversation for as a top 5 center in the league. And yes, I know you have Jokic and Embiid, but when you talk about overall impact at all aspects of the game, I don't know if it's a more athletic, high IQ guy like Robert Williams. He's going to get you the points. He's going to get efficiency. He's going to get you the rebounds. He got the dimes. He could switch 1 through 5. He's going to anchor the defense, intimidate people from even driving, along with shooting the gap to get passes and steals. He does it all. You can't name a center in the league that does what he do.
You know what? When you look at what Rob does, right, how effective he is, think about this. Who is effective that doesn't get a play call for him? He is probably the most effective player in the league that doesn't get one play call for him, that can affect the game on both ends, offensively without getting a play call for him, defensively because he can get steals, he can get blocks, he can switch out and guard multiple positions out there when you switch with him. And he's not a liability at any position. So I look at it like you put up these numbers night in and night out, and it's nice numbers with a small amount of minutes. This is just building blocks right here. He's going to continue to get stronger. He's going to continue to get better. And it's always great to have any type of player who doesn't worry about getting the basketball, who doesn't want to touch the basketball unless he wants to go get it. I mean, you can't ask for a better basketball player than Robert Williams right now.
If his minute restriction is somewhere around 21, I don't know what it is, and they don't talk about it, but let's just say, I think the Celtics have to think about downshifting him in the first half and starting the second half, because the energy level to start that was low. And we know every time Rob Williams plays, his energy is off the chart. It could just be a tip dunk. It could be a big-time block. Like, he's going to play with energy. There's not been a moment in this game or since he's returned that Rob Williams has not played with energy, even the first game back. So that might be something, like I said, I don't know what their minute restriction is, but if it is, that might be something the Celtics want to look at, starting Robert Williams in that second half, because the Celtics have had a lot of second halves where they come out flat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you saw an 11-0 run in the first couple of minutes of that second half by San Antonio. So an 11-point game at halftime, that's how they just got right back into it. So perhaps, using Robert Williams right out of the gate there in the third quarter could help. 121-116, your final score. As the Celtics get the win, they move to 28-12 on the season as San Antonio falls to 13-27.